Something momentous happened in 2015 to change the UK music landscape. No, not the arrival of Skepta and Stormzy, nor the elevation of Adele into living deity. It wasn't even Ed Sheeran, who proved that every young bloke with a battered guitar deserves to be listened to twice, if not quite 3 times. No, it was Alexander Armstrong, that fella off the TV who does all the quiz shows. He released an album, A Year of Songs, filled with faithful versions of undead classics such as Summertime and A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square. Knowingly released in what those in retail term Q4, the time of year when thoughts turn to Christmas presents, it became an unexpected bestseller, revealing Armstrong in the process to be more than just a friendly-faced quiz show host. He was now a friendly-faced quiz show host whose lustrous singing voice put grandmothers in mind of cathedrals. And cathedrals make everyone think of Christmas. Alexander Armstrong kick-started the deluge of celebrity albums in 2015. If Armstrong himself was pleasantly surprised by this turn of events, the CEOs of every record company in the land began to rub their hands together, each becoming aware of the potential ramifications. Because après Armstrong, Le Deluge. 12 months on, Armstrong was back with another album, but this time he had competition in the form of fellow TV quiz show host Bradley Walsh, who at the age of 56 thought the time ripe to indulge his own lifelong love of music. His album, Chasing Dreams, was stuffed with Rat Pack tunes, That's Life, Mr. Bojangles, and became the best-selling debut of the year. I'm not entirely convinced that anyone really listens to these albums. John Hurst, music manager, HMV. The biggest overall album of 2016 was from another pair of familiar small-screen faces, Michael Ball and Alfie Boe, both proper singers, admittedly, whose album together crammed in every blessed West End classic onto a single CD. The nation was suddenly spoilt with audible gift ideas, the collective sound of singing celebrities all making much the same noise. Kerching. Michael Ball and Alfie Boe outsold Skepta and Stormzy combined, but no Brits win. Photo by Tim P. Whitby. Getty Images for the Royal British Legion. And so now here we are in Q4 2017, and the playing field has succumbed to a pitch invasion. The TV impressionist Alistair McGowan recently released a piano album, and today DIY expert Nick Knowles, who could comfortably pass for David Brent on his album cover, releases an album of what else, familiar cover versions, titled Every Kind of People. Grinning Anton from Strictly Come Dancing, meanwhile, is duetting with a variety of collaborators on his opus, From the Top, released the 24th of November, including vocal harmony group The Overtones. It was a clever idea to have him sing with some guest artists, said The Overtones' Timmy Madley recently. Note the use of the word clever there. Armstrong himself returns with a third offering, In a Winter Light, also out the 24th of November. A second from Balbo is out now, and actress Sheridan Smith is one of the few women to have a go, too, with Sheridan the album out today. And last month, Jason Manford recently let rip on some same old West End standards on his effort, A Different Stage. Though these albums are, to a certain extent, critic-proof, critics are hardly generous in their opinion of them. The artists themselves are well aware of this, largely steering clear of tricky print media in favor of speaking directly to their target audience via the medium of daytime TV. Even retailers have their doubts. I'm not entirely convinced that anyone really listens to these albums, says John Hurst, music manager at HMV. Hurst readily concedes that anything which sells physical copies in a world of streaming is undeniably a good thing. Very few people are listening to these artists on Spotify. Manford gets 22,000, Walsh just 4,000, but worries that there are simply too many identical celebs now all crooning from the same songbook. Yes, there are a lot of TV sofas to fill. Lorraine, BBC Breakfast, The One Show, and what the Q4 demographic really looks for is charisma, the ability to make them laugh, and people like Bradley Walsh know exactly how to engage an audience, he says. But there is an element of cannibalization this year. There are simply too many coming out. If you release 10 times as many albums, you won't necessarily sell 10 times as many records, so only 1 or 2 will work. The rest will fall by the wayside. I could easily have done a bank raid. I could have worn a dicky bow on the cover and sung the swing tunes. Shane Ritchie. Another familiar face turning to song is former EastEnders star Shane Ritchie. But Ritchie, to his credit, has gone for something less immediately commercial. A Country Soul, released on the 17th of November, is an album of Americana songs, covers and original compositions, both, all sufficiently textured to suggest that he is singing from the heart. Oh, I could easily have done a bank raid, Ritchie says, as close in the flesh to Diamond Geezer as it is possible to get without tipping into caricature. I could have worn a dicky bow on the cover and sung the swing tunes. But I've always loved country, and I've reached that age now, I'm 53, where country music, that whole tears and beers vibe, just resonates with me. Richie is winningly unpretentious about who his target market is. He is more than happy, he suggests, to flog his album on loose women, if that's what it takes. I know that this has come about because of Alfie, his character in EastEnders, and I'd be stupidly naive to think any different. But what I hope is that the 16 million people who watched Kat and Alfie get married in the early 2000s will go, oh my god, look, it's Alfie, he's done an album, got to get it for my aunt or my sister. I'm perfectly happy to tap into my television audience. I just hope I manage to turn some into country fans. In the main, however, HMV's Hearst is probably right, it will pass this trend, because not every TV celebrity automatically deserves a go at the microphone, so some might return to the day job sooner than they'd like. Should the world prove resistant to Knowles' rendition of the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun and Robert Palmer's Every Kind of People, for example, he need not fear too much. Music's loss will be DIY's gain. Television always needs handymen.